I think that's a good way to finish it up with these Falcons here. I think we're going to agree on the Falcons. If I'm not mistaken, we actually might agree on something today.
We might.
All right. So raw reaction on the Falcons while I pull everything up.
I think it's going to be a bad year overall. I'm hoping that Arthur Smith coming in there. Oh my God! It's set at 7.5.
Yeah.
Their over-under is set at 7.5. Okay, well, I know what I'm going to go bet on after this, literally after this. I'm going to take the under. I'm not a big fan of the Falcons overall when it comes to, yes, I like some of the pieces in doses. I think when you look at it, Calvin Ridley, fantasy-wise, is going to be an easy wide receiver one. I still like Matt Ryan's ability to lead a team overall. Kyle Pitts will get over 1,000 yards if that's what you're making me talk about. But Kyle Pitts is not enough to replace anything wins and losses wise on this team overall. There's going to be good production, some good highlight plays from that, but wins and losses to put this team at 7.5. I guess you're assuming that the past 3 years of injuries finally take a stop in Keanu Neal and Grady Jarrett and all of these other names who have just gotten hurt.
Yeah.
AJ Terrell steps up in a big way. I don't know. I've seen some PFF stuff, dog shit in that, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair because I feel like every team or every rookie corner kind of struggled, and that's kind of par for the course from what we see. I'm actually looking it up on FanDuel just to see if that's the same thing. I'm not 100% sure there. Just see what the regular. Oh, yeah, so it's still 7.5. That's wild. Yeah,
and the under is plus.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I'm going to give you some stats that are going to make you really want to bet that.
What do we not know?
No, I'm on board with you. Did lose. Okay, this is the glass half full
in a good way.
Yeah. So first of all, just looking at some interesting stats, they lost 5 fourth quarter leads in the last 2 minutes. They were 2-8 in 1-score games. They blew a lot of leads. It's unfortunate, but like Matt Ryan retires tomorrow, and I'm going to remember him as a choke artist. And granted, the Super Bowl has a big part of that, but just, knowing how the Falcons have gone really since the Super Bowl, it feels like all they've done is blow big leads. All they've done is blow fourth quarter comeback. Yes,
it was one of the earliest.
And granted, listen, every single time it happens, it's going to add up to that ultimate narrative. But it is unfortunate that a legend of the game, I'll say with Matt Ryan, I'm not ready to say Hall of Famer, but a legend of the game for sure, could be remembered as a choke artist, and that's unfortunate for a guy who is a really good player. But yeah, that's kind of how I remember, and that's certainly the story of the Falcons, the Falcons season last year. They're, like I said, 2-8 in 1-score games, blew 9 leads in the 2020 season. That was the 8th most since the 2000s. That's
wow.
Yeah, like all time, blew nine leads. I mean, that's crazy. Like that's a lot. So 44% win rate. So they blew 9 leads from halftime, right? So going to the half, they were leading at half 9 times, and they only won 4 of them. That's a 44% win rate. The average is 80%. 80% of the time when you're winning at half, you win the game.
That's horrendous.
I
remember seeing the Cowboys when they just keep showing shots of the owner because he's very active at staying on the sidelines and stuff, and it's just like you said, it is already built in there, like predestined, that this team as a whole cannot get that monkey off their back. And I'm sorry, the window's closed.
Yeah, I agree. So like that, all of that lends itself to a lot of those stats. Those should go back to the mean a little bit, and by that I mean they'll win more games. But like I also I'm worried about their offensive line. They were the 25th ranked offensive line last year, and it got worse. They lost Alex Mack, and I don't feel like they brought anybody else that really immediately fixes that position in any real way. They've certainly tried. They've certainly tried, but like I'm not in love with the guys they brought in free agency. Like there really wasn't anybody special. Certainly not on the offensive line. And then in the draft, you drafted Kyle Pitts, which is awesome, but you waited until the 3rd round to grab a lineman and Jalen Mayfield, who is a huge project. I feel like and certainly got a center in the 4th, and I get that. I know we're kind of going all over the place with how we do these shows, but overall, certainly worried about that offensive line.
I'm worried about the offensive line. I'm worried about the defense. I know that this team has been very, very banged up.
Let's take a step back and let's talk about first like the biggest thing. Their new head coach Arthur Smith, new GM Terry Fontenay, who Arthur Smith was with the Titans pretty much his entire career. Well, their new GM, who I can't really pronounce his last name, he's been with the Saints for the past 18 years. So like both guys are used to stability, staying in one place. Arthur Smith started from like the bottom and worked his way all the way up to OC. Was OC of a very good offense for 2 years, and then got the starting job. Like that's an awesome story. I feel like it screams stability for a team that has stuck with their coaches longer than they should have. I think we knew Dan Quinn was done 2 years ago, and they stuck with him until 5 games into this season. We knew the GM was making mistakes. Like I felt like there were a lot of things I could point to with their GM from Benioff from the last regime that like I didn't like. I thought they could have done better. They stuck with him for a long ass time. I mean, he drafted Julio Jones.
And Dan Quinn were riding off of, and GM especially was getting to do the Julio Jones thing that he found that, and the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Super Bowl appearance was enough to be like.
But it was like the second Kyle Shanahan leaves, everything falls apart. Yeah, I wonder if there's a connection. So I thought that was interesting. Any thoughts there with those two hires though, and what it means for the future of the Falcons?
I think future for the Falcons, it can get better. It can. I like the acquisition of Kyle Pitts. I think it's a good pick a lot. I think Calvin Ridley still has a lot of good football left in him too. A very, very good career coming up.
I have some stats for you.
I think it's going to be really good. You're going to have that weird, awkward transition with balancing the old, aging Matt Ryan's books out because you owe him a ton of money coming up, and you can only hope that his play stays where it's at, because if it declines, right now it's $48.6 million and then $43 the next year.
Yeah. Over the next 2 years,
you're tied down to him. So exactly that. You're tied down to him, and I don't see them being. I don't see them competing.
And that actually kind of makes sense why they didn't go Field, like why they didn't go Fields there or any other quarterback to groom behind Matt Ryan, because they're stuck with Matt Ryan for 3 more years. This season and then 2 more seasons. They backload the contract heavily. They owe him the most of any player over the next 2 years. Matt Ryan's getting the most money of any player. That's above all the other great quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's the type of thing you do to try to keep a Super Bowl window open.
And that's what they did. They tried to keep everybody. And when you talk about contracts again, just before the draft, so this is before the trade and everything, 77% of their 2021 cap was taken up by Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Grady Jarrett, Jake Matthews, and Deion Jones. That's 5 players. 5 players took up 77% of their cap. Now, that's before the draft, and that's not the case right now, but that speaks to how poor Benioff handled the cap, and really, just backloaded really everything.
Especially when you consider Deion Jones hasn't played a full season since he's been in the league, and I think he's missed more games than he's played overall. Don't quote me off of that, but I know Grady Jarrett was banged up too.
Yeah. So and listen, those are 5 good players.
And Julio.
Those are 5 good players. I'm not taking that away from that. But you could trade a couple of those for 7-8 solid starters, and that might help you out a little. And needless to say, it didn't work. You're paying. I mean, you won less games than 5.
I just don't see how they get put at 7 wins. Carolina was at 8. I'm thinking about the over-unders.
Yeah.
New Orleans was at 9, and I think Tampa was at 11, right?
Yeah, it does.
How do they think this division is just going to be that competitive? I think it is a clear-cut bottom tier dweller in the Falcons on this division.
Yeah, I give them 5. I give them 5 wins. You give them 4.
Can you put the graphic on what their schedule looks like?
Yeah, let's. I might not have that, but I can pull it up.
But I already know the cross division though. You have to play the AFC East and you have to play the NFC East as well.
Yeah. Keep talking for a second. I'll pull it up.
I don't think that they're a good enough team to be able to get over some of those humps. I really don't. I think Miami is by far better. I know we're going to talk about the Jets a little bit later. I think the Jets can handle this team right now. I think the Jets are primed and pushing for the right way.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That says all that I need to say.
Yeah.
If I evaluate the Jets, and I'm down on them compared to a lot of people.
So overall, their average is 15th. So they have an average schedule in the NFL. Pretty good start to the season, though. I will say that.
I will say I can see where they're fortunate enough they do get to catch, as much as I just hyped up the Jets. I would say coin flip game. I give the edge to the Jets if I had to pick.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think.
You get Eagles, Giants, Washington.
Philly, Giants, Jets. There's 3. Let's give them Jags 4. Let's Lions 5. that's just I'm giving the Jets the easy one. I know I just hyped them up, but
I mean, really, you look at the first 4 of the first 5 games are very winnable for the Falcons. I mean,
is there a world where they have?
Is there a world where they're 4-1? Yeah, I'd be shocked.
Is just tearing it up or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. If they go 4-1, they're hitting 7. I
stand by what I said.
Yeah, I do too.
My 4 wins that I gave them was splitting with the Panthers. I think
Washington's a lot better than. I think Washington's a lot better than that. So I think there's a world where they go 3-2. I don't think they beat Washington. I really don't. I totally get what you're saying there. I mean, absolutely agree.
I see a lot of for sure losses up on that schedule.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot.
They either play the team where it's like they're bad, or they get the big dogs of the NFL.
Exactly.
Cowboys, Saints, Buccaneers, Bills, 49ers.
Yeah, there's some tough ones there. There certainly are. Yeah, so I don't know how they got there. You mentioned Calvin Ridley a handful of times. I do want to talk about Calvin Ridley. He posted 8 100-plus yard receiving games last year. He was on the field for 82.8% of snap share. Got 143 targets. Just killed it last year fantasy-wise, right? Now Julio Jones is gone. You're replacing him
with Julio.
Yeah, exactly. Now, granted, it was kind of interesting because the split, and I don't have it, but I did look it up. The split between snap share with Julio Jones and without Julio Jones, not a huge difference. Like with target share, I apologize. There was a slight uptick, but it was not anything crazy, and so that was certainly surprising to me that there was a bigger uptick when
you would think there'd be discrepancy there.
You would think there would be a bigger one. It was actually bigger with the tight ends off the field, with the tight ends on the field. So with 2 tight end sets and things like that, he had a bigger target share, but that does kind of speak to what they're going to be doing. I imagine Arthur Smith is coming from 2 tight end heaven with the Titans. They're going to be doing a lot of 2 tight end sets. Calvin Ridley is going to be the main target. I think he will be the crux of this offense. And I'm not sitting here saying he will step up and take the true Julio Jones role, because nobody could fill those shoes.
That's hard.
But I mean, I think it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was a career ago basically, but it wasn't that long ago when Julio was a young guy and he was coming into some pretty big shoes with Roddy White. Exactly. So I mean, they've had a pretty good succession of wide receivers, I would say, for the Falcons. They've hit on some guys, and I think Calvin Ridley's a damn good player.
He is.
But also tied for the 3rd most drops in the NFL. Worth mentioning.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. It's only 9 though. It wasn't ridiculous, and certainly his drop percentage is a lot lower based on all the targets he got. But 9 it does tie it for 3rd. That's all I have on the players there. Let's go through their draft and free agency real quick, and then we'll finish it up.
Yeah, bet.
All right.
Free agency at?
Free agency is
here.
Yeah,
we went over their draft.
Oh, we did go to the draft. You're right.
We covered draft.
So talk for a second while I pull it up. There we go. There it is.
They didn't do nothing.
They really didn't. They lost pieces.
I think losing Alex Mack was a huge one too.
Huge loss.
He went to the 49ers, right?
I believe. Yeah, he did. And that was a big addition. We talked about the 49ers talking about Alex Mack. Huge addition for that offensive line. This is a big loss.